Hi guys, Dela Acolatse here, chef and artist here in Ghana, and I'm young and fabulous. Something that's interesting about me is that I started out as a, I went to school and studied computer science at Ashesi University. Moving out of Ashesi and going into the real world, I found myself cooking, and this is what I'm doing now. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I love it. It's a part of who I am because it takes a lot of creativity, and I do like creative related stuff. So that's actually why I'm an artist anyway. So how I got into food. My earliest interaction with food, started off with like from a creative point of view. Like I'm because I do like art and I do like creative related stuff. What I'll put in my mouth, has to be pleasing to my eye. And I realized that like in Ghana, especially even at home, you're served food and everything is just jumbled up. And I mean, I grew up eating that anyway, because at the end of the day, you have to eat. But growing up and reaching and starting this career in food, I realized there's like a gap in terms of like presentation of food and how people relate to food that is presented in a nice way, because you eat with your eyes before you've even tasted the food. And so that was a concept that drew me to food, and being a creative person and being an artist already, I decided to embark on that journey. But it required me to like learn how to cook. So prior to starting out this profession, I actually didn't know how to cook anything. I started cooking in September 2019. It took me about 2 years to master the courage to actually start putting stuff out there on social media and everywhere else. And the reception was great, and yeah, that's how I've got in here. So yeah, I've been drawing, painting, doing art related stuff since I can remember. I mean, my parents were always supportive of whatever we were interested in, and at the time, that was art. And so they would buy me the brushes, they would buy me the paint, they would buy me the canvas to keep painting. My first exhibition, I was like 7 years, and it was with family and friends. I got a few paintings sold. So it was just like growing up, and the motivation, my parents gave me to be able to move out and do what I really wanted to do. At that time, yeah, it was art. Art moved to architecture, because then I was thinking, okay, it's still some creative discipline, just that besides like drawing people, faces, and stuff like that, I'm now going to be focused on like buildings. And when I was growing up, the joke my dad used to say was he never sees me drawing buildings. He wonders how I'm going to be an architect. But uni started, we were applying for uni, and at the time I had applied to Ashesi, and Ashesi, being a liberal arts school, gave me the platform to be able to try out different courses, because it's a liberal arts school. So first year you are not obligated to pick a profession or like a course, streamline into a course, a major, sorry. So what you can do is you can get a taste of everything, and then in second year you narrow down and decide. And so it seemed like a good idea at the time, and so I applied to Ashesi and I got in. And in the first year I tried everything else, and at the time they had only like 3 majors. So there was computer science, there was MIS, Management Information System, which is MIS, and then there was business admin. And the one that seemed close to what I was studying in high school was computer science, and so I went with computer science. I mean, I would say the passion grew stronger during COVID period, because when COVID hit, everybody had a lot of time on their hands, and so I spent most of the time just watching stuff. And then I came across shows on Netflix. There was actually one that was doing like a biography of famous chefs, and I was looking at a few of them, and some of them actually took like an artist approach to how they they thought about food and how they interpreted it and how they presented it to their guests. And, it's something that sparked up, more interest in me. And so I got to work. During the COVID period was when I was experimenting more and posting on social media, and the following came. It's food. Everybody likes food. And so there was a lot of appreciation and a lot of backing that pushed me to do more. And so coming out of that space, I started doing a few private dining events. I did a few pop-ups, and yeah, that's how I took off. So I think first off, we need to understand the ingredients, and I feel like there's not a lot of education on what we have here in Ghana, and how versatile like the ingredients we have here are, and the various ways we can apply them. So we were just talking about sobolo, for instance. When we think of hibiscus, we think drink, right? But I've used hibiscus in desserts. I've used them in cakes. I've used them in like sauces. I've used them in salads. And so it's just it's picking an ingredient, learning about it, and also applying it in different ways and experimenting, and then realizing that okay, it's applicable in this space. It adds on here and stuff like that. And that's how I started, thinking about the ingredients we have here and what we can do with it and the potential of some of the things that we have here. Another thing that I considered was obviously the using what we have here is cheaper and more cost effective than what we import, and we know Ghana imports a lot. And so when I compare prices with what we have here, it made more sense to actually find unique ways of and also enhancing the dining experience, based off of the ingredients we have here. Yeah, and just to add on, it's easier for people to appreciate, what you do when it's a little more familiar to them. And so even the idea of like using things that are staple dishes, familiar flavor profiles to what we have here in Ghana. And so even if I'm doing something that, I'm borrowing from some French technique, or I'm borrowing from like some Italian idea of like a dish, I still try to incorporate flavors that are familiar to me and familiar to the audience, because I'm here in Ghana and I'm cooking here in Ghana. Another thing that I consider is also, like I said, flavor profile, and also identity, because I'm a Ghanaian, and so I cook based off of what I've experienced throughout my life, and the creative part of it as well. And so that's what I reflect in my dishes. And as a Ghanaian, we like spices, we like hot food, right? And so I think the base for me for any dish would be ginger garlic and paposhito, scotch bonnet, a blend of that for any protein at all. It needs to have a little bit of heat, otherwise it's difficult for me to eat it. And so that is my to-go-to spice blend, and then we build on that with other flavor profiles until we get what we are looking for. Just to give an idea. But I can't cook or put anything out there without, my three spice mix. Fufu. Love fufu a lot. I think I have fufu a lot more times than anybody else. Not just on Sundays. I just get up and crave it and I go for it. I try so many chop bars. There's even one around here, Heavy Do. I go there quite often. There's Zion Hut in Chado. So yeah, I do love fufu. I do like the soups. So it's one of my favorite dishes. Yeah. Despite the fact that I like eating fufu, to prepare fufu takes a lot of effort, and so it's not something that I enjoy preparing all the time. I think it really depends on my mood. But what I like to eat and prepare most of the time would be jollof rice. Yeah, I do like jollof. So I do like to cook a lot of jollof, not just with rice, but with other ingredients, other grains like couscous. Sometimes, gari jollof is what, like gari photo. So just a variety of jollof inspired dishes. A significant cooking moment. No, that's a good one. Can I take a break? I want to think. Huh. I've actually not thought about that. I think I just go with it. But I mean, the a memorable moment is, like when you think of cooking, especially in a professional way, you're thinking about it's not just a one-man team. It's a group of people coming together and executing. And so my favorite moments are being in the same space with a team that I can trust and depend on to actually execute the dishes that we have, for the night or for that particular event or moment. And so yeah, that is when I'm the happiest, and that is when I feel like, everything is coming together, in a seamless manner. It's like when everybody is just, aligned, and it's amazing to see, and it's beautiful. I mean, interesting moments would be some interesting moments in the kitchen would be, along the lines of how people receive, how people respond to the dishes that I put out. For instance, even today, the dishes that we did, the salads we had, there's just something about food and the connection that it brings, as opposed to any other. I think food is it's a connecting factor. It unites people. Food defines people as well, and it tells a lot about people. And so, when I have people that I'm serving, and depending on how they respond to food, we connect on so many levels. I can tell a lot about a person just by how the person eats and what the person likes to eat. And yeah, I guess that's what's exciting about that's what gets me excited, because you're happy when people respond and are happy with what you're putting out there. Yeah, I mean, it's when you think of a profession, you're thinking you want to do something that you love, because if you're doing something that you don't like, you're thinking long term, how am I going to be in that space, right? And so definitely when you're thinking career-wise, you're also thinking, is this something I can do long term? And definitely cooking is something that I enjoy. I think more so because it's a creative discipline for me, and it's another channel for me to show my creative side. And so it's always, I am happy doing what I'm doing. I hope to do more, beyond what I'm currently doing, and that's just the reality of life. You're growing, you grow, you expand, and so I'm happy and hoping to see what the next chapter is for me in this space. If I could pick a different profession, what would it be? I feel like the profession I am in right now is, it branches off into a lot of things. And so it's very difficult for me to say, oh, what else would I have done? I feel like I'm happy doing this. It's one of the creative disciplines. I find many things inside in this profession. There's photography, which is something that I started learning because I'm posting food on social media. I need to learn how to take the pictures, and so I start to understand light sources, stuff like that. And in painting as well, there's that concept. And so a lot of the things that I do around this discipline and what I'm currently doing is like they're marrying each other. And so it's very difficult to actually point out, oh, would I have done like maybe be a doctor? I think I would have been in food, but maybe in some other that aspect, maybe taking pictures of food more than cooking them. So maybe food photography or painting food. Oh, challenge! I think the challenges in it would be there's no proper, there's no licensed like proper culinary school here in Ghana. So a lot of the things that we've learned, or I have learned, have been, off the internet and like understudying chefs that were already in the industry, and those chefs, learned from expert chefs that had been brought into Ghana, and so that's just to give you, the hierarchy of how things move here. The hope is that there would be a more, refined culinary, institution here in Ghana that can, teach us, the things that we need to be able to expand and grow and showcase Ghanaian cuisine on a more international level. Challenges, some other challenges would be how people respond to, the profession of a chef. Like if it's almost, assumed that when you say you're a chef, it wasn't by choice, it was by circumstance. But I'm an example of by choice. So it's just, I feel like it's easier when people are a little more open-minded and allow people to actually explore what they're actually interested in. I mean, we're living in the 21st century. You can excel in just about anything. I didn't experience stigma in that regard, because there actually are a lot of men that are. I think in the industry here in Ghana, there are more men cooking than women cooking. I think it's maybe if you say like cooks in general, then maybe there are more females. But for chefs, I think there are quite a number of men cooking. So I haven't experienced that. What I have experienced is, like I said, it almost feels like a profession that people, fell into, and they didn't move into, by choice. And so how people respond to it is also based on that. Like, don't compare a chef to. If you say I'm a chef, it's like, it's better if you say I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, other stuff like that. But chefs bring a lot to the table as well. We nourish you, we give you what you put in your body, And so I feel like every discipline, has its importance, and it should be treated as such. Oh yeah, so the very interesting one is, you're actually doing it. Just to say, like, a lot of people wouldn't have expected it to go this far, especially with how far I've come. And the journey hasn't ended, and so I think it's inspiring, even for me, because when I started out, I didn't start out thinking I would be here and I'll be doing this. I think it was more along the lines of like just doing something, because I'm a creative. I like to try and experiment a lot of things, and so it's just one of those things. But I'm happy to be doing this. I'm enjoying it. I love it. It gets me around the world. I'm learning a lot from different people. And like I said, food connects, and so it's one of those things. It's exciting. Traveling. So I mean, I started traveling, for food last year, and I decided somewhere in the third quarter of the year that I'll move around and see what's out there. And I started off with Ivory Coast, and then I did a bit of Togo and Benin, and then this year I went beyond West Africa to East Africa, and then just recently, I think last month, I just got back from Brazil, and it's been an amazing experience learning about the way people eat. West Africa is similar in a lot of ways, but East Africa is all those similar, different flavor profiles, also different applications and different appreciations of food. And I think it's impacted the way I think of food, because you're only as good as what you see. And so the more you see, the more you learn, the more you experience, the more you put out there. I'll say Brazil. I don't know if it's because that's more recent. That's my more recent travel. But a lot of the ingredients that they use are familiar to me. Like the use of cassava. They have a lot of cassava. They have their version of gari. It's called farofa. They use a lot of black-eyed beans, like what we use for red, but they use that in rice. So it's almost like they use that in rice and a bunch of other things. I think they have that in feijoada as well, which is like a bean-based stew. And so I'm eating their food, and I'm remembering things about home. The only difference is the flavor profile is slightly different, but base ingredients are so familiar and so similar that you can actually sit down and say, you can actually appreciate this food, and it doesn't feel like I've left home. It feels like I'm just experimenting, on a different application of that ingredient. And that was amazing to see. What can we do to promote Ghanaian food? I would say, first of all, I think we need to just be more, besides being open-minded, also be happy with what we have. I think being more appreciative and, proud of what we have is like the first step. Because I feel like, so the trip that I went for to Brazil, I actually did chichinga. That's what so I went for a festival called Churrascada. It's the 23rd one was this year. They've been doing it for 23 years, and this was the first time they had Africa on there. And in a bid to actually showcase Ghana, I decided to do something. It's a barbecue festival, so do we do barbecue here in Ghana? Do we have a barbecue culture here? Maybe they are Bochi boys, but yeah. So I'm thinking, all right, chichinga. Let's take chichinga there, and the reception was actually quite amazing. 4,500 people interacting with our spice suya, and resonating with it and feeling that connection. And it's amazing because you don't need to overdo it. You just need to be original, and that's what I did. I sent it there exactly the way we do it here, nothing different, and it was well received. So that's what I mean when I say let's be more intentional and proud of what we have, because I think that's the first step. If you believe in what you have and believe in what you possess, you can push it out there a little more with a little more confidence. Yes. So in terms of evolving and staying in trend, I think it's also related to like I said, the more you know, the more you see, the more you know, the more you implement, the more you share, stuff like that. And so the idea is to absorb more, learn more, and improve on myself and improve on my skill, so that I can deliver more to my clients. Another goal is also to have a school, or to be part of a system that is implementing some sort of like culinary school system here, to encourage more people who are interested in this profession and would love to take that leap of faith and make that journey, because it's a beautiful journey. I feel like everybody has a different path. This is my path, and I'm happy to be doing it. And yeah. Is the chef business lucrative? I mean, we all eat, right? And how often do we have like celebrations, celebrating milestones? You want to do something for that special person. There are so many ways being a chef, the use of the services of a chef is needed. And so yeah, I don't think it's something that could ever die down. It's almost like, as long as you're celebrating birthdays and you're celebrating milestones, and you are you want to have a good time, food related, there's always a chef around the corner. Yeah. So yeah, there is money in there. Look at the number of restaurants that are opening up in Ghana. Business is booming, So, how much am I making? I'm still on the path of discovery, and so currently it's good money. It's good exposure. I think I'm more, currently I'm doing more of like learning and expanding. And even in that, it's going well. And so the hope is that, not the hope, I know that it's only getting, better and better. And so, yeah, watch out for me. I'm coming. So, yeah, I offer private dining services. I do food consultations. So, you have a food business, you want to do a menu development, staffing, you want to do some changes, you want to have some changes to your current flow, your current operation, to expand, and deliver more to your customers. I'm your guy. Private dining services, like maybe you're proposing to your girlfriend, you have a wedding dinner, so something along the lines of catering. So private dining and catering, services as well. We do some brand advertisements as well, but not as much as at now. But yeah, I'm getting there. I mean, my advice to beginning chefs or beginning like cooks would say, keep experimenting. Um, you know, be brave. You know, believe in yourself. Do more. Even me, I'm still learning. The learning doesn't stop. It only gets better. You know, it's practice makes perfect, and so that's I think that's the core aspect of it. Yeah. And also prep. I mean, in the kitchen, we do a lot of mise en place. You know, the more you prepare, the easier it is to flow in the kitchen and, you know, put things together a little more easily. And so, yeah, those are my 2 cents. 2 Ghana cedis. Oh, this question, I'm not able to answer it too. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the people that I actually cook for like to, you know, they like the privacy. Yeah, and that's just what it is. So, I mean, you would have to be there to find out. Aside from what I'm currently doing, so the services that I provide are under my business called Testimonials, and the name came from, you know, testimonies, you know, about, you know, in relation to taste. And these are some of the things that we do at Testimonials. As of last year, we had started an incubation. We had entered incubation with Ashesi University. Ashesi University has a venture incubation program that I was a part of, and it just ended. And so the plan is to also expand in that field. You know, using all of the business knowledge and the mentorship and learning and professional learning that I've learned from being a fellow in that incubation space. And so look out for testimonials too as well. We are coming. Okay, so I'm Dela Kwame Acolatse. I am a chef and artist here in Ghana. You can find me on Dela_Acolatse on Instagram, and testimonials at testimonials on Instagram as well. For Twitter, I am __Dels. And the same goes for testimonials, just at testimonials for Twitter as well. And so give me a follow, let's talk, let's get in touch. Anybody who is interested in food, I'm your to-go-to person. Let's connect and, you know, make memories together.